From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report on Radio Andy. I'm producer Blake Jacobs, and I'm here by myself while everyone is out enjoying the holidays. So I thought, why not do a best of show? But everyone does best of shows. So this one's a little different. It's the top 10 things that happened in 2020 that you may have forgot happened in 2020. I mean, maybe you remember them, but it just seems so long ago because of the ongoing pandemic or all the news from the White House. Nope. All of these stories happened in 2020, like this one, number 10.
Number 10.
You guys, there are signs of the apocalypse all around us, but one that cannot be ignored happened on what used to be my favorite show, still kind of is, I just haven't watched it in a couple of years, The Kardashians. The Kim, Kourtney physical fight aired this past week. Did you see it?
I saw bits of it on Twitter, and it looked absolutely just insane.
What were they fighting about? I mean, it looks so real. It looked
real.
real.
It is so real. That's what we love about the Kardashians. It's not hard to explain. It's basically Kourtney, the quiet one, who, basically doesn't want to do the show anymore. And she's been saying this for like 2 or 3 years and kind of like, I just want to spend more time with my children and blah, blah, blah.
And Kim made $100 million, so yeah, she's done it. She could be out.
And Kim kind of takes it personally, and Khloe, because they're raising children, they're doing the show, and, that whole thing. And so it was, part of me was disgusted and judgmental, which is so great of me, one of my great attributes. But they're only in their 30s. I thought they're in their 30s, they're parents. I'm much older than 30, but I'm sure I cussed out, and I don't know that I've ever physically come after my brother and sister, but we've had
wasn't a friendly slap. That was awful.
There were fingernails and arms, there was clapping. And my favorite part, because it's sort of in 3 parts, and anyone within the sound of my voice, whether you've ever watched The Kardashians or not, you must watch this. There's an amazing moment where, Kim kind of charges Kourtney at the end of a white hall in one of their massive homes, and Kourtney pushes her back, and Kim's shoulder hits the wall. It could have grazed the wall, comes off, and they keep going at it. Everyone's watching the fight. I'm watching the body makeup mark left on the white wall. And I know this is controversial to say. If you're just tuning in, this is a joke. But I haven't watched The Kardashians for a couple seasons. We were given, by the way, our Emmy for Best Reality Competition by Kim and Kendall, who was watching. Kendall was watching the whole time, horrified. But they wear a lot of, they're darker than they used to be. I'm not going to say the Kardashians wear blackface, but they're a lot darker than they used to be. Just this point.
What was the fight about?
Just sisterly resentment over many, many years. And Kourtney sort of once again saying she wants off the show and that, and you're a horrible sister and let me get, it's just all of that unspoken sibling angst.
But if there's ever been siblings who have overthought and overspoke and overshared with each other, it's the Kardashians. It's hard to believe that after 10 years or 15 years of the show that there's still unsaid things between them. How much of it really was a little bit scripted, like you're going to get into an argument and you're going to say this and this, and then it sort of got real as they were doing it. It's
ugly. I don't go there. I think it was a big thing. There's a statement afterwards that Kourtney is taking a distance herself from the show, shooting much less, only things that really import her. They made it so by the end of the show they'd made up, and supposedly in real life, because this was shot a while ago, they've made up. But I'm telling you, it is a real fight. It is physical. There's one of the mob wives, I never watched that show, but on Instagram, she does a play-by-play of their fight, talking about they've never had a real fight in their life. It's like she's going in. And I have to say, Khloe, supposedly Kourtney's anger at Khloe than at Kim. Kim and Kourtney had the fight, but Khloe was there and kind of took Kim's side verbally and the mob wife was like, she's watching like she cares, that she doesn't care. Beat the shit out of her. She doesn't care. So
this is it. I am not a fan of Wendy Williams, but I gotta say I'm sort of excited to see Wendy's take on this because she is obsessed with the Kardashians.
I think the Kardashians invented the internet. They invented reality television. I give them credit for everything. So I forgive them this moment of raw, brutal.
And who invented the Kardashians? Paris Hilton.
Okay, I buy that.
For me, it's all complicated by the whole Taylor Swift phone call thing because there's a new chapter in that too. I never understood quite what was revealed in that, who did what. But it was just the other day, there was a new revelation. And
because they showed the edited tape, and Kanye said that he told her everything that was on the track, and in fact, he didn't. And so she was surprised.
And then Troye Sivan and Tyler Oakley and everybody else starts taking sides, and it becomes the beginning of World War III.
During the time of isolation and home sheltering, please watch the Kardashians slap the shit out of each other, please.
That's Thursdays, 8 p.m. at E! Number 9, James.
Number 9.
I wanted to give a shout out to a beloved celebrity of ours who just recently got married.
I just read about this.
Yes, Pamela Anderson. What was the name of our show we did with her? Girl on the Loose or something. Wasn't it?
Bombshell.
Girl on the Loose.
I don't think it was Bombshell.
I can't remember.
I think that was just on the poster.
But, she married...
Pamela, Girl on the Loose.
Right.
Pamela, Girl on the Loose. She married a longtime love of hers, John Peters, who was... he's a famous Hollywood producer. He started off in the 70s like David Geffen as a hairdresser and then went on to do A Star is Born, Batman, Flashdance, Caddyshack, Rain Man, Gorillas in the Mist, Witches of Eastwick, The Color Purple, An American Werewolf in London. He has quite a string, of hits.
John Peters was with Barbara Streisand for a while.
He was with Barbara Streisand for years and years, like almost 10 years, I think.
Because I remember this fabulous quote of Barbara Streisand that she said the thing about John was that he always knew what to do on Sundays. That is so profound.
What does that even mean?
Sundays are an existential hole in the week. It's just the most awful day.
I love my
everything's
Sundays.
closed. It's depressing.
Well,
and it's
I think he means for people that like getting out.
What does he do on a Sunday? What did he know?
Apparently, he knows what to do.
Everything.
I would go with someone if they knew what to do on Sundays.
Well, I'll
That'd be
take you to the Rose Bowl flea market this week.
Okay.
If you're in town.
Melrose Trading Post.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, both of them, this is their 5th marriage each. I had forgotten, after Tommy Lee, that she was married to Kid Rock for years and years and years. She married Rick Solomon twice, who was, the Paris Hilton sex tape guy, and also Shannon Doherty's lover for many years, or husband, right?
I think they were married.
Yeah.
And who was she married to when she did the sex tape?
Tommy Lee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But he now has 5 different sexual assault cases since 96 to 2008. He's been accused 5 times by 5 different women of assault. So we don't really know that.
Who?
much.
John
Peters. Yeah. Oh. He says that he met Pamela when she was 19 years old, a Playboy model at the Playboy Mansion.
Well, I saw a photo of them together like a really long time ago.
Yeah, that was then. She was 19 years old, just fresh-faced and just absolutely adorable. And they had been lovers then, and then 35 years later, he said that he hadn't been able to stop thinking about her. And so they got back and they're married. So God bless them. Well, he's 78 or something.
75, I think.
75? Okay.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
No.
I mean, do you think this is the one? This is for keeps?
Well, we sort of want Pamela to be happy. She's
sort of.
No. But she's somebody who has had a rocky time of it, I think.
Right.
And so she's up and she's down. She's up and she's down. So
she's a hopeless romantic.
But I want her to end up just being happy and finding the right one. So
I'm glad she's not with Julian Assange anymore.
Well, that was just it because
she was with him too.
Yes, because we thought that they were going to get married. Remember, because she would sneak in and out of the embassy in the dark of the night, and
she also just broke up with some French football follower.
Right. Yeah.
Do you remember when we did the Pamela Anderson series? She did an estate sale, sold off all her stuff, and in a warehouse where all her stuff was stored, there were like 13 mattresses
yes.
stacked. And she was like, Oh, those stories! If those mattresses could talk, you know, like it must have like
Right.
had Nookie on each of them.
I
with
think
several-
Theron actually bought one of those.
Ew.
It was fabulous. I think from what he heard when he said, top of the line. Well, Pamela and John's holy union ended only 2 weeks later. She even denied ever having been married to him. On to number 8 in our countdown of things you may have forgotten happened in 2020.
Number 8.
This past week and this last weekend was the first ever DragCon UK. We had it at Olympia in Kensington. Oh my God, it was incredible.
I saw the pictures, boy.
I
Woo!
mean, could you believe it was just Olympia is funny enough, it's a slightly smaller hall than we do in LA and New York, but it was so jam-packed with people. And that first, I always have this sort of anxiety, like when you throw a party, you're just convinced no one's going to come.
Right.
And I had that sort of anxiety. And then I got off the tube on Saturday morning and there were like lines around the block. At one point it got a little... the venue had a little bit of a panic attack and closed the doors, which was not a popular move with the few hundred people waiting outside who started shouting refund.
It was 3,000 people.
It
outside.
was not, James.
Yeah, that's what I saw. That's what it saw.
James,
I
was there. I
lines.
saw them. It was not 3,000 people. It was 500 people. They were offered refunds if they didn't want to wait. We offered for them to use their tickets on a Sunday if they didn't want to stick around and get in. Everybody got in on the Saturday. Anyway, it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And just the vibeology and the Queen's Walk was amazing because you see at Olympia, it's like 2 floors.
Staircase.
Yes. And it's a lovely old Victorian building with this gallery. The second floor is a gallery all the way around. So you can stand there and look down on the stage. And the queens came out on the stage, went down the pink carpet, and then ascended a staircase at the very end. It was absolutely stunning, dramatic. Bag of Chips came out and squatted and left a little turd on the pink carpet. Morgan McMichaels came out, took a little girl's hand that she saw in the crowd and walked her down the pink carpet. It's just like moving moment on. And I suppose the frenzy, the orgasmic pinnacle of the whole thing was when the Frock Destroyers sang "Wanna Break Up." They didn't even have to sing it. The entire audience knew all the words.
Well, I heard they sang it twice, and that everyone was perfectly happy. They
Could have
loved
done
it.
Yes, could have done it again.
I did see that Bianca, who is on the West End right now, that people went bananas when she came in.
Right.
That she was probably one of the most popular of the American girls, and that Blue was by and far one of the most popular of the British girls.
Yes, Blue definitely, and oh, good Lord, Michelle Visage, bless her, had lines for days.
Yes.
She sold all her books, and also
She's a huge star in the UK.
She is.
And Ru, the madness around Ru was insane. What was so brilliant was that Ru DJ'd, and from that gallery, he could DJ to everybody. He did two-hour sets. He also did a fabulous Ru Talks with Bananarama.
Oh, I did see that,
Yeah, and he also did an AJ and the Queen panel.
Oh, cool.
And then the time he wasn't doing those things, he was behind his booth selling merch. I mean, it was such a feel-good, amazing, lovely experience, really. Yeah.
Did you
I
get to
love
meet
that.
the Banana? Have you met Banana?
No,
met
I
Siobhan,
didn't, because I found myself just holed up a large time in the office, and so I sort of missed vast chunks of it. But it was a really a lovely thing to see.
We ran into Siobhan before.
We have. She's a friend of mine. That's why I see a lot of her.
Jodie Harsh was also there and had
Oh,
a booth.
yeah.
Love Jodie Harsh.
And of course all the queens from Series 1, the UK Series 1 queens, obviously including the Vivian.
Right.
It was just really pretty spectacular. So,
I love it. How far is that out of London?
Oh, it's central London pretty much.
Oh,
It's,
Kensington
it's
is
zone 1 on the tube. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Kensington is a very posh neighborhood, isn't it?
It is. I will have to say that the Olympia exhibition hall is not in the posh bit of Kensington. It's sort of like in the armpit between posh Kensington and Hammersmith, and it's sort of like, it's not an area you'd want to. It's not bad, but it's just
Right.
not very scenic, but it's perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
I can't believe there even was a DragCon in 2020. It seems like we haven't had one of those in ages. But we'll be right back after the break to dive into more things that you may have forgotten happened this year in 2020. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back. I'm producer Blake Jacobs here by myself, counting down the top 10 stories that you may have forgotten happened in 2020. Now, like I said, maybe you remember these happening, but it just seems like it was way longer than a year ago, since today's January 1st, 2021. But no, all of these stories happened in 2020. Let's carry on with number 7.
Number 7.
Wow. Why? It's the impeachment trial that is going nowhere fast. It's got a historic inevitability that is just playing out in real time. It's really annoying because we know how this is going to end. We know they aren't going to let them have any witnesses. We know there's not going to be any evidence. We know that the Republicans are all in the bag for Trump, and they've already said they aren't going to be impartial. So what the fuck are we doing watching this? Why is it taking up 14 hours of my television? I'm not able to watch Days of Our Lives. I'm not able to watch General Hospital because these fucking people are ruining our country.
And how about the fact that most of it is taking place after midnight? It's like some sort of like midnight
society.
It's not really a trial.
No, it's one of those like existential plays by Sartre or something like that. That it goes on and on and on, and there's never going to be any resolution except
I saw a thing on CNN last night that this guy was talking. I don't even remember who it was, but he was like, "They want this to be a blip, just like." Do you know what we were doing a year ago from like today? We were there. The government was in a shutdown. Do you even remember that?
Well,
there's always.
I think the more they kind of compress it and try to shorten it, the more history will judge them for it.
But
if there is a history,
I was going to say, but that's not what matters. What matters is that if, like the Mueller case, like the Mueller report, he's going to skate again, and the more he skates, the more powerful he becomes, and the more he thinks he can get away with doing bigger and bigger crimes. And they are already saying that the reason why the Republicans are all in on for him is because they're convinced that he's going to win the second term. And God help him if he wins the second term, there will be no more America left.
Well, it's funny you say that because I just read an article by Benjamin L. Corey, who has a blog, benjaminlcorey.com, where he actually looked at the idea that Trump is the Antichrist. And he found all these biblical quotes. This is Daniel chapter 11, verse 21. A despicable person will arise, a man of contempt. He will slip in when least expected and will seize the kingdom through flattery and intrigue. Revelation chapter 13, verse 3. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast.
Now, listen, the other one of the things from Revelation is that they always are talking about when the trumpets will blare, the trumpets.
Yes.
Trump, he hears the word Trump. That's Nostradamus, I believe. And the other thing
trumpets always going in Revelation.
Yeah. And but they will have the sign of the beast on their head.
Exactly.
And that's the MAGA head. That's the MAGA
Make
hat.
America Great Again hat.
Because
there was a meme about that,
They wouldn't have understood back in the biblical times about what a baseball hat was. They would just see something with the letters on it.
That's what he saw, Revelation 13, and they received a mark on their foreheads.
Yeah, MAGA. Maggots.
He will exalt himself above all, so that he set himself up in God's own temple, proclaiming himself to be God.
Now, close. We're close to that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. He will honor a God no one will have heard of before, the God of fortresses. What is the wall? The God of fortresses. And he will worship this God with a lot of money.
Yeah.
Daniel chapter 11, verse 37. So that's why this insane thing is happening. That's why the evangelicals, the Republicans, don't see him for what he is, because he's the Antichrist.
Well, that's what they keep saying
that.
is that they keep saying he's a sign from God, and everyone else is saying, yes, it is a sign from God, and you failed. He was testing you, evangelicals, and you bought the golden calf. You were worshiping at the golden calf.
Well, I'm just waiting for the rapture.
Well,
maybe it's happened and we're still
I
here.
don't know why you think you're going to be raptured.
Because in the rapture what happens is God summons all the good people to him. So they just suddenly disappear. But I guess we're still here.
But the bad people stay around, have to stick around for the 6 years
That's
of the war, Jesus' war with the Antichrist.
So we were in the middle of what would eventually become the impeachment of Trump for that topic. A lot of good that did, right? I guess James was right to be pissed that it preempted his soap operas. Moving on, our friend Raja, the Diamond Crown Queen from RuPaul's Drag Race Season 3, joined us for number 6 of the top 10 things that you may have forgotten happened in 2020.
Number 6.
Yeah. What is that?
I tore it up.
One of the most iconic moments of the Trump presidency.
So fucking good.
I love it. You know, it's Nancy Pelosi at the State of the Union, in which he, first of all, when they walked in, he refused to shake her hand. Remember, so it got off to a bad start.
Well, let's be fair here. Who started the hostilities? He did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's no good just sort of positioning us as like Nancy ripped up the speech. He was really rude to her, right?
Yes.
Right.
And then, you know, the whole speech is just filled with lies and just nonsense, just utter nonsense, and patting himself on the back and this and that. And so at the very end, she rips up the speech on camera, and the Republicans went bananas on the Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. People were just like...
So the Republicans went bananas. Like, it's like, how...
And one of the Newt Gingrich was one of the people who came out and said, "This is disgusting. I've never seen anyone act this way before." Newt Gingrich, remember, called Chelsea Clinton the White House dog when she was 14 years old. He shamed some girl for wanting contraception. He was cheating on his wife who had cancer, and he left his cancer-ridden wife to be with his fourth wife or something, Callista.
Well, and let's not forget the, making fun of the special needs reporter and the grab him by the pussy.
Right?
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about, this was Newt Gingrich who was making fun.
Well,
but
yeah.
Newt Gingrich has no place.
No way.
But I think what Blake is saying is Republicans generally commit offensive acts first and then point the finger at anyone
who tore up a piece of paper
or wears a tan suit
full of lies.
What time of year was it? Obama wore the tan suit.
Yeah. Obama or Michelle Obama showed her shoulders before Melania showed her tits.
Exactly. Yes. So and I love Nancy Pelosi. I wish to God she could be president. I think she is so classy and gorgeous and smart as a whip. I everything she does is just fantastic.
Intimidating.
Yes. Yeah. And I think she's the one person that Donald Trump is like truly afraid of. There's that great picture of, remember, where she's doing this, she's standing up and pointing at him.
Or she's going, like, clapping, doing the clap.
Right, but this was a meeting of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all, like, cowered, looking, and Trump is, like, looking at that, and she's just standing there doing that, and it's just one of the great photos. I mean, she's so cool.
Because she said then at that time, because with you, all roads lead to Russia. And
Yeah.
Which is where
she knows what's going on.
Exactly where we are.
Yeah. I mean, I'm enjoying the theatrics of it all. I don't really follow politics as much as I really, really should follow politics, but I think, it's,
Well, it's either all or nothing, because it's a commitment to every single day do another outrage and to feel defeated every single day.
Yeah.
And sometimes it is better to just turn it off.
Yeah, don't let it suck you in, because it is like a dark place.
Because I will go home and watch Rachel,
right? Exactly,
and then Chris Cuomo, and then
then you're all fired up.
Don Lemon, and then all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. and I'm furious and tweeting,
spinning.
So I mean, it is better. My sister just watches Bravo, and that's it. She doesn't watch the news. She doesn't know anything that's going on, and she's happy.
Yeah, but we are so fucked.
Yeah,
we're fucked.
Totally fucked. I mean, it's yes.
Number 5.
Guys, this is a quick one, but I think it's worth noting because the timeline for the COVID thing all started for me when I heard that not just Tom Hanks, but Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson had COVID. They were in Australia. We were in London at the time. They showed great bravery. They were the first celebrities really to share it. They've gotten through it. They're back in LA. There was all this coverage that Rita and Tom were seen driving around LA. And Rita, who also is, a recording artist, her songs went like number 1 on the iTunes chart, I think, the day of the original thing. And then she, while she was in captivity, in whatever they call it, she I remember
if only
she remembered the Naughty by Nature song, if she could remember the lyrics.
Hey yo, that one.
Yes, and so she, with the social media, spit out all of the lyrics on her Instagram, and and got a lot of props. But the most important props of all, she got props from Naughty by Nature themselves, the original artists.
Tretch, right? Remember, wasn't it his name Tretch that he was really hot?
Yes.
Didn't he have the padlock and chain around his neck? Was that his trademark?
Possibly.
But they're
You down
doing.
with PP? Oh no, not me.
They've done a remix. We can maybe play it on the way out. It's going to help go to a charity to raise money for COVID. And it's just, who do they say? What didn't someone write like an opera while they were in Mozart, or who while in quarantine or in jail?
Wrote King Lear, yeah.
Well, Naughty by Nature and Rita Wilson have remade.
You know what I have to say? Life hands you a lemon. Call Rita Wilson.
We'll be right back after the break. Don't go anywhere. We're counting down the top 10 things that happened in 2020 that you may have forgotten happened in 2020. We'll be right back.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back. I'm producer Blake Jacobs. Let's get right back into counting down the top 10 things you may have forgotten happened in 2020. Now for number 4, our friend the Vivian, the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 1, stopped by to talk about RuPaul hosting Saturday Night Live back in February.
Number 4.
It was a fascinating process to see because, as you say, just the number of people in that tiny space pulling that thing off so quickly, so fast. But then I have to say that Ru's monologue just really deeply touched me. And to be there and to see him on that stage...
Which is something that should have happened 20 years ago. I mean, it was a long time coming, but it was
a great
wonderful.
moment.
Yes.
But the perfect time as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right,
Exactly.
things happen for a reason.
Uh-huh.
And I loved what he said. And I know you had a hand in this, the idea that basically 3 things, right?
Yeah.
Don't take life too... Make sure you get paid before you go on stage.
Get the money up front.
Get the money up front, thank you.
Unless they're paying your bills, pay them no mind.
Pay them bitches.
They
no
wouldn't
mind.
say us. ABC preferred we didn't say bitches.
But they said bitches all through that
We could
show.
say bitches. They thought it would be a little alienating.
Okay. Early on,
And the
right.
third thing was don't take life too seriously.
Right.
And Ruth said, I take a lot of he says this all the time. This is not my. He goes, I take some things very seriously.
Right.
I take kindness seriously. I take love seriously. But the rest, just have fun. And it was amazing. The monologue was I've always said RuPaul's like Dolly Parton or any of the greats whose message has been preserved from day one. You say it so well. Like Ru, kind of like when you met Ru.
Exactly the same.
He
I
was
mean,
the
the
Ru
outfits may have changed a little bit.
A little bit more money.
But really, exactly the same person.
Yes,
And
and
If
the
you
same
can't love
message.
yourself, how the hell are you going to love
and
you?
you know what? It's not a repeat until everybody's heard it.
Right,
That's
exactly.
And this is the message.
And this was probably one of his biggest platforms to date, I think.
Yes.
And I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the ones that landed, some of the scenes or some of the skits that were
Okay.
so fantastic. I loved, like I said, the Nights the Lights Went Out in Georgia
That
one.
was one of my favorites.
That was one of my favorites. The reading is fundamental.
reading
The
is
library was
hilarious.
hysterical. He nailed every single one. It
Oh
was
my
so
God!
great.
When he said Harriet the Spy, girl, please.
yes. And then
Girl, bye.
one of my favorite, or the Pete Davidson, putting Pete Davidson in drag is just genius.
And he was hot too.
Yeah, that is so viral. And Pete Davidson does that character so well.
Chad.
And Chad, and it's so funny. The slacker.
Do you get my gist? Jizz.
Yeah, just but I loved the one near the end when it was the two old ladies in the hotel room. Old
New York.
Old New York.
With Kate McKinnon and Adie Bryant and
Yeah.
Ru's there. They go, there's 2 men. We've married the same man twice. One's dead, the other one's here.
But what most people don't know is that it's a riff on a very famous viral YouTube video series
Yes.
about Royce and Marilyn, and they were 2 old ladies who lived in a tenement hotel downtown LA, and they just bitched at each other
Downtown
on camera.
New York.
No, it was LA. It was
Oh,
downtown.
was it?
Yeah, and so
Oh.
they've transferred it to New York
Oh,
and to
New
do
York.
it. Yeah, but they're these old. One is, God damn it, I hate you. This is garbage. And she was brought up in Paris, and she wears fur, and and the other one is sort of an old lady who's like a big Edie Beale character,
Yeah.
and they just share a bed together and they just bitch at each other, and that's sort of what it's based on. If you have never seen
life, right?
Royce and Marilyn, check it out,
the
because
show.
that's.
Sounds like me and David.
And I was wondering, but I was wondering if Rue had brought that to them, and you said no.
I think they've done that before, and again, they inspired. Bowen wrote the minor sketch I told you about earlier that was from Dynasty. Cecily had done this the designing women thing.
Yeah.
So they were inspired,
Yeah.
and they're so good there, and there's like I said, they're so professional, and Rue. There's a moment in rehearsal when he first met the kids in the reading thing, and it was before wigs and stuff. And there was all this, there's all this like technical stuff. They have to stop as a camera, people figure out what to do, the directors and whatnot. And Rue got like literally on his hands and knees and was like playing with the kids and having fun. And Natasha said to me, this is behind the scenes, she goes, AJ and the Queen has really changed Rue. Like he's really, because Rue, I don't have children, doesn't have children, but he was so charming.
But I think that's what got me, that's what touched me so emotionally about the whole thing, was just imagining the kids out there. I guess it's past their bedtime, but the kids out there hearing Rue saying that and thinking back to when one was a little kid and probably not having those kinds of role models. What was it he says at the very, very end? He says, if you...
Well, it's the whole idea that if you're kindness, he goes, because, if you, following those pieces of advice, because if you follow your heart, if you, sort of march the beat of your own drum, and if you use every color in the crayon box, he goes, who knows where it'll take you. If you're lucky, you might just end up posting Saturday Night.
Right. That just makes me.
It brought tears.
It brings tears.
Varla Jean
Never
Merman, the
fails.
wonderful drag queen, wrote something about that, and it got passed around within our circles. Just about, she's like, there was tears in her eyes when Rue was doing the thing, because Rue is, and we're so funny, the way that Democrats eat each other, the gay community can like bark at each other, but when something like this happens, it's like Rue is doing it for us.
Yeah.
A great moment, and that is such a message we need to hear at this sort of Trump age of hatred and things of that nature.
No shade button for that.
No.
Let's move on to number 3. Remember Quibi? It launched in April, and only 6 months later, it was announced it was shutting down in October.
Number 3.
Have you guys got your free subscription to Quibi, the new network, the new Jeffrey Katzenberg Whitman network?
No,
but
you're not alone. It's just launched. We've been hearing about it for quite a while. As all of Hollywood, and Jeffrey Katzenberg of DreamWorks fame and everything else, and Meg Whitman, who used to run Yahoo, they came together, got $1 billion investment, spent $1 billion in programming to make Quibi, is short for quick bites, for 10 minutes or less content that it's only on mobile. And you can watch it. The big gig is the big hook is you can watch it horizontally or vertically. Not a big hook.
It sounds like you aren't a fan.
Well, it's everyone's suspicious. Part of me thinks with young people, here the whole thing is it was all the whole notion is there's this white space in high-end streaming mobile. Even though all of the all of the other versions of this Awesomeness TV, all those other things have crashed and burned, while Wow Presents Plus has continued to grow and grow and grow and grow for $3.99. So for $4.99, you get Quibi. You can get 90 days free. I'm on the 90 days free. I think it's like $4.99 or more for Quibi if you $5.99 if you don't get commercials, and $7.99 if you do, which is more than Disney Plus. And the reviews are in, and people are a little confused. It's something new, so maybe people come around to it. But there's something. I watched. There's a show called Nikki Fresh, starring once Wild Celebrity Nicole Richie, which candidly, James, is just candidly Nicole. We have a show called Candidly Nicole, which you can watch for free on AOL. And it's the same show.
I thought there's quite a few sort of Wow Presents Plus type shows on the Quibi.
I thought the Chrissy Teigen thing looked like fun.
Everyone should watch with their own clear mind. I'm giving it. I think I read something, and maybe it's changing quickly, but only like it started earlier this week, and initially only 300,000 people signed up. And how ironic that the white space was: you're on the bus, you're standing in line at Starbucks, you're commuting, you're at work, and you just need a little break. And here's this 6 to 10 minute Quibi quick bite. But the fact is, and you can't get it right now on your computer. You can't get it projected to your television. So you're forced right now in this weird time where we're all stuck inside watching. I have a little carpal tunnel from switching my phone from this to this, from this to this.
How is that? Is that novelty? Is that fun doing that? Does it
No.
like make a?
Well, wait a minute though. In Quibi's defense,
Yeah.
Snapchat is doing the same thing, and I have a deal with Snapchat to do my book Freak Show in 10-minute episodes. So I'm hoping against hope that by God this format will survive so that I can make some damn money.
Sure.
Which book is that, James? Which book? Which
Freak
of your
Show.
book? Oh.
I don't know if there's a format short enough for you, James. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. But there's TikTok. There's lots of short form entertainment.
Right. And you would think it'd be a no-brainer.
But you didn't spend $1 billion. I don't think they're paying you $1 billion.
Close, very close.
I think that the flaw in this equation may be that it's designed for the kids who watch on their phones, which is great. But everything's got celebrities in it, and I'm not sure that the kids who watch on their phones are that interested in the celebrities. I think the celebrities belong to film and television, like Spielberg, and
I think you're absolutely right. I think that's the great thing about TikTok is that it's created its own celebrities, and I think that the kids want to create their own celebrities. I don't think they need Nicole Richie or Chrissy Teigen.
And you should check it out, James, as it relates to what you're about to do, because in formats, there's some format shows like game shows, and because they're only 6 minutes long, they get really redundant and repetitive right after each other, right? So you sort of need, maybe in scripted, which there is a lot of scripted. There's a ton of really high quality, high name stuff. But with scripted, I think you need to find a way, which could be tricky or not, to like make me go to the next level, make me go to, or take a turn around the corner. Because if it's just, I think it's probably less problematic and scripted. But I'm going to start watching scripted stuff tonight.
Well, you need it to be like a mini soap opera where you have cliffhangers after cliffhanger after cliffhanger to keep you going and keep you scrolling through.
In the reality stuff, the most successful thing was kind of MTV remade Singled Out, but they also remade Punked, which has some issues because the punks aren't that good. But at least with Punked, it's sort of like 6 minutes about the time you need for a Punked, and then you go on to the next one. But the other stuff, it just presents a whole new set of challenges. And listen, Jeffrey Katzenberg and Matt Whitman are very smart people, and they're very well financed. And we know people over there who are pitching them. I shouldn't be bad mouthing them, but it is getting mixed reviews online, getting mixed reviews by the press and by the Variety and Hollywood Reporter. So it's a new day, and I'm making the world know that Quibi is available. You can get it free for 90 days and make the decision yourself.
But Tom, have you guys pitched at Quibi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And okay, moving along.
Here we are. Listen.
Number 2.
Mystery seeds from China. Have you guys heard about this?
Yes.
A little bit. I tried to ignore it. Now tell me all about it.
People have been receiving unsolicited mystery packets of mystery seeds that come from China. And I think something like 9,000 people have received them so far. Someone is sending packets of seeds from China, and they think maybe it's an attempt to some sort of eco-sabotage thing to introduce some kind of vagrant weed that runs amok, or some sort of smuggle in some sort of deathly beetle in the seeds. But no one quite knows what the fuck is going on. And
are we supposed to plant them when we receive them? Is that what we're supposed to do? Like, they think Americans will just go, oh, these are just seeds.
Just polite.
Oh, just to plant the seed.
Put them in a little clip. What would Mary Astor do?
That was the star of Old Maid with Betty Davis.
Now that we're in this cottagecore period, receiving a packet of seeds, yes, you are going to go plant them, because that's what you do in cottagecore. You go you go garden, you plant your weeds, you bake your sourdough bread.
Question. In this age where there's a new conspiracy theory every 3 hours and my head's about to explode, has anyone done like research or sent these to a lab? Is there any of that kind of follow-up? Or are we just sort of another thing to panic about?
Actual research, it would appear not, no. She's to spin out, right? It's Kamala Harris and Biden are sending seeds around.
But it does sort of sound like it is sort of like an insidious plot. Like, I mean, you know how in the South, I grew up in Florida, in kudzu, it was a plant that was, it introduced in like the 60s, and now it has literally taken over the entire state. And I'm wondering if there is some sort of weird plot to, take down cities or something by introducing things that are not supposed to be there.
What if the plant comes in peace and it's meant to love one another?
Or it could just be a viral, someone is trying to get a bunch of hits on Instagram, and it's just some sort of viral superstar in China sending it out.
It's a promotional campaign for Red Bull. It's crazy.
Right?
There you go.
Well, you're going to have to watch
Have you
this
gotten
space.
any?
You'll have to track the demon seeds from China, which sounds racist, so I'm not going to say that. But
Did
the
you
whole
receive
idea-
any? Is that how this started?
What?
Seeds.
Yes. Seeds. What do
You
you
got
mean?
them? Somebody sent them to you?
What? No, I haven't received the seeds. No.
Oh, okay.
Lots of other people have. I thought you might have received some seeds.
I got some seeds the other night.
I was just going to say, this could go wrong real quick.
We'll be right back after the break to dive into more things that you may have forgotten happened this year in 2020. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy, Sirius XM.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back, guys. I'm producer Blake Jacobs here by myself while everyone else is out enjoying their holiday, and I'm counting down the top 10 things that happened in 2020 that you may have forgotten happened in 2020. Now, we haven't heard much about Harry and Meghan as of late. At least I haven't. And I don't know if that's because we're in the middle of a pandemic and there are more important things. Maybe it's a bigger story on the other side of the pond. Alas, our number one story that you may have forgotten happened in 2020, Megxit.
Number 1.
Let's talk about Megxit.
It's
God,
smart.
we got so much.
This shouldn't just be a segment. This should be a 4-hour special.
So for those that have been living under a rock, it was announced on January 8 that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are
the
stepping
Duke and
down.
Duchess of Sussex.
Yeah, are stepping down as senior members of the British royal family.
Potentially, we haven't really worked out all the details.
They're moving
yet.
away from what was the phrase from their senior royal duties.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? Do you care?
I really don't care. I mean, I was thinking. Well, I was thinking
it's
about
everywhere. You have to talk about it.
Meanwhile, I do hate that our royal historian isn't here to discuss this.
Oh, please.
But they say that they'd be financially independent, meaning that they won't take any money from taxpayers.
That's to make the people of England not hate them for doing this.
Right.
And they plan to split their time between the UK and North America.
Now, listen, the thing about that is this is a boy who watched his mother die from being harassed by the press. And so for him to want to save his family and not go through that again is commendable. I believe. And the fact that the British press has been so nasty to her.
Right.
And, they say that it's probably racist. It's probably, whatever it is, they have, I just saw an article the other day that had side-by-side stories about Kate and Meghan. And it will be like,
I saw that.
Yeah. And it will be like, Kate is eating avocados. And then it'll be like, Meghan's taking all the avocado crops. It's like they'll say, like, whatever Kate does, is, she's wearing a sparkly tiara. Why is she wearing the tiaras? It's like the two, she is held up to an impossible standard.
Yes.
And I don't blame them for wanting to get away from it.
I don't think they're ever going to need or want for money or fame. Like, they're
Can
always
I
going to be.
counterpoint you for a minute? Because I ultimately want everyone to be happy and they should do whatever they think is safe. However,
what?
It's that the drug of fame, and I have not experienced it, so I can't speak to it. But didn't she know that she was marrying into the royal family?
Right.
Didn't she visit and see the quarters she'd be living in? Didn't she? I always feel like, when you see like true Hollywood stories or biographies of celebrities, they always seem to stumble at the same place. Like they're on the top of the world and they lost everything, or the price of fame was too high. Now again, if it's too high and she's in trouble, I say move on, live your life. But didn't she get all the fame and now she's using that fame? Or do we live in a world where being a royal isn't famous enough?
No,
like she can't drive like Elton John, private jets. Like you can live a life. They can live a life. Those two can live a life more famous, but on their own without any restrictions than if they were to actually pay homage to. By the way, and I'm not pro
but the
monarchy.
thing is, like,
so.
what I'm saying is that that she is treated different
Right.
than every other royal.
She couldn't have anticipated that.
No, there's no way, because she probably thought she was going to be like a Kate.
Yeah.
She probably thought that the press was going to fall over
Right.
and love her, and everyone was everywhere.
Well, and it seems like they did in the beginning, right? And then it just like turned.
I don't know.
And is the British press like worse than the American
Oh,
press?
much
even?
worse, much worse. Yes.
But and the other thing is it's amazing. This is a whole other topic. The obsession, the fantasy that we throw upon the royal family.
Yeah.
Because her wedding, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It is. Like our as Americans, we don't really see the negative. We just think, oh, the fairy tale wedding. I was always excited that there was a person of color in the royal
Yes,
line.
and I think that people thought that in the beginning, but I also think that Harry, we've wanted Harry to fall in love for so long. We've wanted him to settle down for so many decades now.
That's big of you, because I know when he broke up with you, you weren't saying that at first. You were a little resentful at first. Admit it.
But I also think too that once she had a child, that everything changes too,
Yeah.
and I think that your priorities change.
I want everyone to be happy. Megxit with love.
Right.
And okay.
Thanks for listening to the top 10 things you may have forgotten happened in 2020 on the WOW Report for Radio Andy. Let's hope 2021 is better to us than 2020 has been. Until next time, if you have to go out, wear a mask and do something that makes the world go wow.